Hi, Pastor John Kriske here with another word for the week. So, do you ever get frustrated with our government? We all do, right? Our government officials will sometimes use influence for their own personal gain. There'll be excessive force that's used by law enforcement. There's corruption and waste, and yet those who should be looked after aren't protected or provided for. And so I get frustrated and angry and then fall into a trap. That's what Jesus' enemies were trying to do to Jesus. They were baiting him in order to speak out against the Roman government and its taxes. And they weren't being used for good purposes, building idol temples, raising murderous armies. And if Jesus had spoken against those taxes, then he could have been presented as a rebel to the Roman government and arrested. Maybe you remember Jesus' answer in Matthew chapter 22, where he says, "Therefore give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." How could Jesus say something like that? Well, first of all, because God, his Father, had put those government officials in charge over him and would remove them when they got to be too evil, just like he promises to do for you and me. But with them being put there by God, Jesus was to give them obedience, just as we are, unless, of course, they force us to do something against God. And so, in respecting our government, we're respecting God. And if we lash out against it, well, then we fall into that trap of lashing out against God. And of course, that's the last thing that you and I want to do. So, how do we deal with the sometimes just frustration and anger over the evils in our government? We trust Jesus in his virtually ruling in everything that goes on there. You think about how his government murdered him, and yet what did he do? He turned it into forgiveness of sins for you and me, for eternal life, for his virtual rule in our hearts. And so when our government is corrupt, or excessively out of line, or not taking care of the poor, see Jesus in the chambers of government. See him standing there beside that police officer. And despite the evils, know that his might is finally going to make right. And that's how we escape the trap of disrespecting government and God, and instead living under the blessed rule of Jesus ruling virtually through it. You can go back to last weekend online, if you would, and take a look at more of that message there from our special holiday celebration of our nation's anniversary. Or join us for a 5:30 service this coming weekend, or again at 9 a.m. or online this coming Sunday. God bless.